But we want to get to the legal side of things. I've been so overwhelmed the last couple weeks with Michael Avenatti, the lawyer for Stormy Daniels, and just how great he is at playing that game. I mean, you've been involved in some high level Washington cases. I mean, where you, I don't know if Bill Clinton ever went on Fox and Friends and imploded, but you kind of see the pressures that is going on with the administration with all these legal fights. And so let's just turn to that. You represented Susan McDougal, one of the chief figures in the Bill Clinton Whitewater investigation, headed by Ken Starr. One of your major accomplishments again. That investigation eventually led to Clinton's impeachment and acquittal. From a personal and human point of view, I mean, what is it like to be a person caught up in the massive, ongoing, dramatic presidential investigations? And I mean, give us a look at what they're going through now, and like how much time is going into meetings and the money and.
It's phenomenal. What you realize is with an independent prosecutor, independent investigator, they have an unlimited budget. Yeah. And that in itself just drives you crazy because they can hire as many attorneys as they want to. They can file motions. They can do whatever they want to do because it's unlimited. And so you are constantly under pressure, and you're constantly having, the hours a day. You go from maybe working 10 hours a day to working 14, 20 hours a day, just because you've got the constant work and the pressure on you. And more importantly, what you realize is that there is pretty much nothing that an independent prosecutor can't do and can't look at. You saw with Ken Starr, we ended up going from a failed real estate deal in Arkansas to a oral sex in the Oval Office. I mean, they have such unlimited, there is no restrictions. For example, in most investigations, the Justice Department has to file a warrant with the judge and say, here's what we're looking for, here's what we're limiting this to. We're not going to go beyond that. With the independent investigator, it's just, there is no limit. The sky's the limit. So you're always worried about what could come out next, what shoe's going to drop. It's paramount to just taking on God, it feels like. Because
is that why he's not getting a lot of legal,
Sure.
Seems to be fishing for lawyers. I mean, and, what made you jump into that case? And I mean, did you have those sort of reservations of like, wow, this could...
I didn't have much choice in terms of Susan McDougal jumping into the case because not only did I work on the case during the day, but at night when I went home, she was in the other side of the bed. She was my fiancee. So I didn't get a choice to work on the case.
I'm glad you cleared that. I got asked that earlier and I didn't have an answer.
No, it's people don't realize because I represented her as a lawyer along with Mark Garrigus, the two of us, and people oftentimes don't know that I actually had a relationship. We were engaged to be married when the whole Whitewater thing started. So the pressure was doubly intense because not only was she a client, she was my fiance. So, like I said, that one I didn't have a choice on.
Wow.
So maybe Jared Kushner will be representing Donald Trump or Ivanka.
Or Ivanka.
Ivanka, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
you go.
Or Melania. I don't know where I went with that. But, how much is it, it's a whole media game with that high level of case too. And I saw it, I kind of just realized it with Michael Avenatti and his representation of like the press conference and all the cameras with Stormy Daniels and what he said coming out of the courtroom and how Trump's almost finally met his match and a guy that can play a media game just as well as him. Yeah. And it's very interesting to see that sort of legal side of not just the paperwork and the filings, but the actual press, and how to play that game.
And there's so many lawyers who would not have been good for this case because they would have said, "Look, I'm not trying this case in the press. I'm going to deal with it in the courtroom." What he's done is he's basically said, I'm going to go tit for tat. I'm going to literally. That's probably a bad use of phrase there, in this case. But I'm going to go. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to go after him, and it's really fun to watch because I love it when an attorney gets out and essentially puts the story together and lets they drive the story instead of letting the other side or a prosecutor or whoever drive a story. He's out there driving the story, and it is driving Trump crazy.